Hi teachers! So I just wanted to give you a walkthrough today showing you the digital update to my personal narrative writing units. The update is included in the personal narrative unit. If you already own it, it's a clickable link inside the unit. You'll just re-download your file from TPT or my website in order to get the updated unit with the file in there. The clickable link will make a copy of this Google Slides file to your Google Drive. And then you can copy and paste any of these slides to create individual assignments as you teach personal narrative writing. I wouldn't recommend just giving this entire file to your students. That would probably be too much and they wouldn't know what parts to work on each day. Instead, I would assign them just a couple slides at a time as individual assignments. So let's take a look. I have made versions of the posters so you can show these to your students while you're doing distance teaching. You can pull these up during your lesson, whether you're live teaching or pre-recording. You could just share your screen and record yourself as you're teaching, the characteristics of a personal narrative. Here we have the rubric, and you can have your students grade themselves by clicking and dragging, or you can use this to just show them their final score. We have a checklist here, and students can just move these check marks as they work through the various tasks that they'll be assigned. And then the mentor text is also included. Next, I have made digital versions of the centers. So for this center, students would be, clicking and sorting the different titles. I also turned the graphic organizers into digital graphic organizers. So this is an example one that you can use when you're teaching. And then students would have one where they could actually type. And have the same thing for the narrowing down to a small moment graphic organizer. Then we have another center. We have the remembering the details where students, really flesh out those details. We have a place for students to do their skeleton outline. For older students, you might want to just assign the entire slide. For younger students, you might want to just give them the introduction to work on one day, the body paragraphs a different day, and the conclusion a different day. The strong introductions poster has been turned into a slide, and as well as a space for students to type their strong introduction. And then we have another center. Then they can learn about temporal words. And then we have this slide where this is a center from the PDF unit, where students will choose 4 of the words and then they can turn them into sentences on the next slide. And then here students will practice writing as paragraphs. And then in this slide, students can use the highlighter tool to highlight mistakes that they see. And then down here they can rewrite. You might need to model this by sharing your screen and showing students how to use the tool up there and how to undo it if they make a mistake and highlight something they didn't mean to highlight. And then they can retype the paragraph down there. The adding details to text posters included, as well as the graphic organizer where they can write down their examples. And then we have an adding details center. And then the final copy. I included a version that includes the original when I published my final copy poster, where students do include an illustration, but since they might be doing their entire personal narrative digitally, they wouldn't really be able to include an illustration, so I also included a copy of that without the illustration. And then if you want them to, they can use this to type out. There's several slides here where they can type out their final copy of their personal narrative. You can assign these. There are 5 of them, so it could be the introductory paragraph and then the body paragraphs and the conclusion paragraph. For younger students, you might even want to just add a little text box at the bottom labeling each slide. And then those task cards that come at the end of the unit, I just turn them into digital task cards where students can just practice writing to respond to these various little prompts. So if you own the personal narrative writing units, you can just re-download them to get that link to have this version. You don't have to make another purchase. As far as what I didn't include, I mean, I pretty much included everything. The lesson plans are still in the file, so you would have to head back over there to, read your lesson plans. But everything else is pretty much included in a digital format. So you can just review these lessons yourself and then use the digital version to teach your students. So I hope this can help you with distance teaching.